Hi, today I'm in Upper Deeside in Aberdeenshire in the little village of Inverie, and I'm on the hunt for a wanted man, a man on the run from the government. And I bought some help. I bought my own bloodhound, Otis. There he is. And the plan is we're going to walk up Glen Ey and find somewhere nice to camp. So we better get a kit on and get going. Well, I found my first clue to the person that we're hunting for. We're looking for a man called the Black Colonel, and just over here is a sign that says the Colonel's Bed. Now, the Colonel's Bed is a geographical feature which is a gorge in the Ey Burn, and at the very bottom of it used to be an overhang, and that was used by the infamous Black Colonel. So when we get down there, we'll have a look and I'll tell you a little bit more about the man we're looking for. But first, I'm going to put Otis on the lead because I believe that the edge is a little bit crumbly and I don't want this daft dog falling over the gorge. So we'll get him on the lead first. Come here, Otis. Come here. Good boy. Good boy. Come on then. So this is the Colonel's Bed, the gorge in the Ey Burn. So this is probably a good time for me to tell you a little bit more about the Black Colonel. So here we go, here's the history bit. John Farquharson, 3rd of Inverie, was a man known as a tough, no-nonsense laird. He was a proud, confident Highlander with a formidable reputation. In 1666, an Aberdeen sheriff instructed a laird from Ballater to collect an unpaid debt from Farquharson. Now the man from Ballater knew of John Farquharson's reputation and had dealt with him in the past, so he decided rather than confront him and demand money, he would take the easier option and just seize some of his cattle instead. Now obviously Farquharson found out and was not a happy chap. He tracked down the Ballater laird who had taken his cattle and a fight ensued. Now it is claimed that he killed the debt collector with his bare hands, and for the murder he was outlawed and a warrant for his arrest was issued. Now somehow John Farquharson managed to evade capture and still continue to live in his home at Inverie Castle. In 1679, Farquharson joined with other Highlanders to fight against the Covenanters at the Battle of Bothwell Bridge. Now one of those fighting alongside him was a young Viscount Dundee, John Graham of Claverhouse, and their paths were to cross again in the future. In 1690, when Viscount Dundee called out the Jacobites and pulled the pin on the first of the Jacobite risings, he sent a letter to John Farquharson of Inverie, appointing him Colonel of the Marmen and instructing him to start raising his Highland troops to assist his army. Now from that point forward, he was referred to as the Black Colonel. Now there's a debate why that is. Some say it was down to his dark, swarthy complexion and his black beard, and others say it was down to his temperament. He was well known as a volatile dark, angry chap at times. Now I suspect it was probably a combination of both, but it seemed that the moniker, the Black Colonel, fitted him perfectly. Now the Black Colonel's first action as a declared Jacobite was to attack 100 government redcoats who were trying to occupy Braemar Castle as a strategic garrison in Upper Deeside. Now after defeating the redcoats, he then took it on himself to burn the castle to the ground. In the spring of 1689, John Farquharson headed off with his Highland troops to meet Viscount Dundee, now known as Bonnie Dundee, to fight alongside him at the Battle of Killiecrankie on the 27th of July 1689. Now, during the battle, the Jacobites won a resounding victory against the government. However, their leader, John Graham, Viscount Dundee, was killed in action. Following the battle, the Black Colonel and his troops headed back to Deeside. And now, John Farquharson was a wanted man and a known Jacobite, and he had a price on his head. Over the next few years, a lengthy game of cat and mouse ensued between him and government troops who were now billeted in his area. John Farquharson gained a mythical status of how he always managed to evade capture even from the most meticulously planned ambush. And even though he was a very wanted man, he continued to stay at his castle in Inverie from time to time. Now eventually a redcoat ambush was laid for him there, but he was tipped off and managed to escape, and from the high ground on the hill above his castle, he watched his castle being burnt to the ground by the redcoats. Now from that date on, he took refuge in the glen he knew so well, Glen Ey, sleeping at the Colonel's bed below a rock overhang in the gorge and in a cave up on the hill. Now this is where Annie Bain, who he referred to as his fair-haired Annie, bought him food and provisions and dry clothes. The Black Colonel managed to evade capture until 1698, where it is said he died of old age. Now the story goes that before Farquharson died, he instructed his men that he wanted to be buried in Inverie beside his beloved Annie Bain. But for some reason, he instead was buried in the Farquharson plot in Braemar graveyard, I suspect at the wishes of his wife. Now the morning after his funeral, his coffin was found dug up, lying on the ground next to his grave. He was promptly reburied, and this strange occurrence happened again the following day. His troops got together and decided that maybe they should honour his wishes, and his coffin was taken back to Inverie for reburial as per his original wishes. And this time, he stayed buried, resting in peace next to his fair-haired Annie. Well, I hope you found that interesting. He certainly was quite a colourful character. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to pick our tracks carefully back up to the main track, and we're going to head further up the glen, and we're going to find somewhere to camp, probably by the disused steading buildings. And I'll tell you a little bit why there are a load of disused steadings in this glen when we get up there. So I think we'll just carefully pick our way back to the track. So as I came up this glen, you probably saw evidence of abandoned, disused buildings like this one behind me. And Ferguson's records say that in 1703, there were 9 separate farmsteadings operating in this glen. And that meant that there were quite a lot of people living and trading in this glen. Now, by 1830, all of the people in this glen had gone. Now, like many lands in the Highlands, following the Jacobite risings, many lands were seized and then sold to nobility that were in favour with the king, and this land was one of those. This land was sold to the Earl of Fife, and the Earl of Fife, just before 1830, cleared this land of all of its people so he could use this as his private hunting estate. Now, he wasn't quite as brutal as some of the landlords further north. He resettled the people of this glen in the large village of Braemar, about 10 mile that way. Now, I doubt very much they were very happy about it, but as tenant farmers, they didn't have any choice. And that's why we've got all of these abandoned buildings, because still nobody lives in this glen. It is completely empty, but there are plenty of deer left here. And I think on occasion, posh people do come up here and hunt the deer. So I have decided that I'm going to camp just over there, near to this. And if I need water, the river's down the bottom, but we're suitably far away from the river or the burn and all the feeder burns to hopefully be away from the midges, because this place will be midgy hell when the wind drops. So I'm trying to stay as far away from the burn as I can. So I'm going to go and set up while Otis rolls around on the floor having a high time. So before I set up, it's time for Otis's dinner, because when a dog needs his dinner, he needs his dinner. So let's get Otis fed first and then we'll get the tent up.
Are you hungry, Otis? Yeah? Are you hungry? Yes? Yes? Should we eat some dinner? And now for his favourite bit. Here we go, Otis. Crunchies. Nom nom. Crunchies. Otis's favourite food is celery.
Okay, it's time for something to eat, and as you can see, I've sheltered in the old farm building. The wind is getting up. In fact, keen-eyed, when you see the setup again, will notice that I've actually turned the tent. Yeah, the wind was blowing that way. I was about 40 degrees, 45 degrees out, and it was flattening the side of the tent a bit, so I've spun it around and it's on the nose of the tent and it's fine. So yeah, you've got to get it right. So tonight, I'm not having a dehydrated meal because that last meal I had was bloody awful. So I'm having something a bit posh. I'm having fasolka, which is a Polish bean and pork stew. Sounds great. I've never had it before. Comes in a glass jar. I bought it in the supermarket. It looks pretty good. Yeah, it's not exactly light, but you don't have to bring any water with it for it. So I suppose there is a saving. And obviously it's in a glass jar, so I'll have to take that out with me. And for a bit of carbohydrate in there, I've got some orzo pasta, which is the pasta that's like grains of rice, that stuff. You can make that out. So I'm going to lob that in with the stew and let it cook in the stew. I'll probably have to add a touch of water just so, because this stuff absorbs water. So we'll get that set up. So first things first. Oh, and I've got my old pan from the 1980s, my Coleman Peak 1 stainless steel pan. Haven't used it in years, but I think it'll be absolutely perfect for this. So we'll get this open, put the lid up there, and we'll go pour that in there. Yeah, there's definitely some big lumps of meat in there. Oh, and sausage. And I think what I'll do is I'll get a bit of water. The dog's interested. Hang on. I'll get a bit of water in there and I'll put the lid back on. Give it a shake, and we'll use that to... Does that smell good? Yeah. Yeah, I think Otis already approves. So we'll put that in there. That's all of that out of there. We'll put that in the bin bag. And then I think what I'll do is I'll get it warmed up, get it to temperature, then I'll stick my orzo in, because I have a feeling I could overcook that. Go the way. That sounds like it lit. Yep, it did. And I'm using a Soto Windmaster stove. It's my new lightweight stove, and it is a really powerful little burner. But what I like about it is the legs fold out, these things here, which mean you can actually have quite a big pan on it, which is good. Now I need to find a stirring implement. I think I've got some somewhere. Ha-ha! Put that out of the way. So I've just found some pepper armies in my bag, and after stirring it a few times, it could do with a bit more meat in it. So I'm going to put some pepper armies in it. Well, I have to say, I've not had this Soto Windmaster very long, and it is an incredibly controllable stove. Normally, like my last lightweight stove, was fabulous for boiling water, but it was all or nothing. It couldn't really cook on it. This is very controllable. You know, you can get stuff to simmer on it, and you could fry eggs without welding them to the pan with this thing, and that's pretty unusual for most camping lightweight cookers. Well, that's reduced down a bit. I think it's time to get this pasta in, and I'm not quite sure how much, so in for a penny. Chuck it all in. Yeah, gonna try these things. I was originally going to have this with mashed potato, but that would mean boiling 2 pans, and I do like a 1-pot solution if I can. So that's what I'm trying for. Try and do everything in 1 pot. Okay, that's it done. It took a bit longer than I was thinking it would. The orzo took a while to cook. It's probably taken 10, 15 minutes of simmering, which is a little bit longer than just adding hot water, but it looks great. And the pasta's plumped up. So I'm going to eat this now, but I'm going to get some celery out for Otis, because I know that he's going to pester me for this. So I shall grab a little bit of that for him. Like that. There you go. And I will try this. So we'll pick it up with that handle. I think. Oh wow, that's thickened up. It did catch a bit on the bottom. I think there's quite a lot of sugar in the sauce. So let's try a bit of their sausage first, not the stuff I added. Where has it gone? I just saw a bit. There we go. Big piece of smoked sausage and some orzo pasta and some sauce. God, it's still boiling. That's nice. It's a bit hot still. Oh, the sausage is very smoky. The thing I'm actually quite surprised about is it's marketed as a bean stew, and I can't say I'm seeing any beans in it. Oh, there is a little bit, but there's not a lot. I mean, I think maybe if I do it next time, which I will, I'll stick a can of cannelloni beans in as well. Because I was expecting it to be chocked full of beans and it's really not. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Come on, out. But all in all, it'll fill a hole, tastes good. And I reckon just with some more ingredients, it'll make a really good camp stew. So watch this space. I'll be having this again. But as I've said in every video, nobody really wants to see me eating. So I'll bring you back when I'm done. Well, I'm going to be pretty darn full. And I'll tell you what I think of Parma Pol Falsolka Polish bean and pork sausage stew with not a lot of beans. So that's dinner done, and a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think it's the basis of a really good camping meal. Now, there were some beans in, but by the time I'd finished, I think they were broken up and gone to the bottom. And I reckon if you put in a can of butter beans or cannelloni beans towards the end, so they kept their shape, it would be a brilliant meal. Also, the pepper armies made it a bit on the salty side, but I reckon if you put in a different sort of meat to bulk it up a bit, like spam or bacon grill, you know, the smokiness kind of goes with that whole kind of Polish paprika thing. I think that would make a really great camping stew. So I am going to revisit this one. I'm going to do it again with the orzo, which works really well, but I'm going to put a different meat and I'm going to put some beans in, and I think it'll make an absolutely stonking camping stew. It was very filling. I think with all that in, it's probably food for two, but I'm full up, no room for pudding, no rice pudding on this camp, and I'm really pleased with it. Now, what has happened while I've been sitting here is one of the estate cars. Now, this is part of the Invercold estate, and one of the estate cars has driven along that track we walked in, and they're currently sitting at the bottom of the hill looking at me with a pair of binoculars. So I may get a visit very soon. Now, I'm not doing anything wrong. This is public access land. There's no shooting going on here. There's no livestock here. I'm following all the right to roam rules, even to the point where Otis is on a lead at the moment because they're just down there. But yeah, if I get any hassle, I will stick the camera on and hopefully record it, because they've been sitting down there for about 10 or 15 minutes just watching me with a pair of binoculars, which is kind of strange because we are in the middle of nowhere. It's probably, it's taken them probably half an hour to drive up that road in a Land Rover. So we'll see. And if anything happens, I'll get back to you. This evening's entertainment was giving Otis an unplanned bath. Yes, Otis rolled in something that, well, let's put it like this, was not sharing a tent with me tonight. So we had to take him down to the burn and give him a wash. Thankfully, I bought a towel. Yes, the smells of the countryside are enticing young Otis, and he likes rolling in them. So yes, he'd rolled in something that definitely was not sharing a tent with me tonight. So I took him down to the river. Now, I hadn't got any soap or anything, but I had got one of those micro-fleece towel things. So he's had a jolly good scrub in the river and they're dried off. And now I've just got to make sure that he doesn't go and roll in something again, because there's lots of deer poo and fox poo and sheep poo about. And also dead things. And I suspect it's a dead thing that he's rolled in, because it was, yeah, greasy and smelly. But I think I've got pretty much all of it off. He actually smells quite clean now. And I've got most of the goop off his coat. Yeah, it's been a while since I've camped on my own with the dog. Next time I shall make sure that I bring a small bottle of dog shampoo with me, because that would have made life a lot easier. Anyway, that was this evening's entertainment. So I shall show you what I've got inside tonight. Now, although it looks beautiful and sunny, I think the forecast is dropping down to about freezing tonight. And if I spin round, you'll actually see that there is still some snow. Where are we? I don't know whether you can make that out. Up on that hill behind me. Turn for the sun. Yeah, there's still pockets of snow on the tops, and that's actually not that far up from where I am. So it could get quite cold tonight. So I'm actually still sleeping in my winter bag. So I've got my OEX Leviathan sleeping bag on top of my R9, pardon me, my R9 sleeping pad. Otis is on a small roll mat, a foam mat, and he has got a 2-season down quilt. So he should be warm enough as well, and I suspect if he's cold, he'll probably climb underneath mine. But yeah, having rolled in something nasty, he'll probably get repelled and told to go under his own one. Well, it's 8:30 and the sun's still just about up. It's going down pretty quick now. And I think we've got the glen to ourselves. It's a stunning place. I'll spin the camera around and give you a slow pan of the glen. Well, that's bedtime. It's been dark a while now and the temperature's dropping, but we're toasty and warm in here. I've got my 4-season bag, and there he is. Otis has got his down bag as well. We've had a really chilled out evening. Otis has been having a run around on the hill, and he even got over having to have a unplanned bath. He seems happy enough now. So we're just going to hunker down, hopefully get a good night's sleep, and I'll see you all in the morning. So I'll see you in the morning. Yeah? See you in the morning. Have a good night. Good night. See you in the morning. Well, good morning. That was a cold night. Yes, not the best night's sleep because, well, halfway through the night, Otis decided that he wanted to sleep on an R9 pad too, and I don't blame him, it was really cold. So I shared my sleeping pad last night with the dog, and as you can see, yeah, there was quite a hard frost. Tent's covered in frost, the ground's rock hard. Yeah, so a lot colder than was forecast. Definitely dropped below freezing. So I'm going to get a brew, get some breakfast, get Otis some food, and get this packed away, and then we'll start walking out. So I'll catch up with you once we've warmed up a bit. Well, that's me feeling a bit more human. I've had a cup of coffee and a chocolate biscuit. Otis has had a bowl of dog biscuits and some celery, and we're all feeling a little bit better now. We're packed up. I'll show you. As ever, I picked up somebody else's rubbish. There wasn't a lot of rubbish here, but in the abandoned building, there were some wrappers off food. So somebody's obviously camped here and cooked in the same place as me and left their litter, so I've picked that up as well. But just to show you how cold it was when we got up. The water in Otis's bowl was frozen solid, and I've put some more in about, what will it be, about half an hour ago, and it's already frozen over. So it's still well below freezing. So we're going to get saddled up and we're going to walk back to the van, and I'll see you back at the van. Well, that's me back at the van, and all in all, a great camp. Really enjoyed myself. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment, and if you're not already subscribed, consider hitting the subscribe button. So until the next one, I'll say ta-da. Ta-da.